Y sí, haz un zoom aquí a la palomita. Just do it. Grabando Zona 2, episodio 28. ¡Vámonos!
I made this design. What do you think about it? Do you think you can give me credit when you release it?
We have this new product. How does Nike define an athlete?
If you have a body, you are an athlete.
There was a big event, the Mexico Marathon.
Yes.
Was a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, running is the heart of Nike, and we want to be in the communities where you are.
We're here at the exhibition of Nike.
I would love to be part of the Olympics one day.
How is the creative process in Nike?
So it's less about what am I going to draw today. It's more about what athlete problems am I going to be solving today.
How involved is Michael Jordan nowadays? Do you think AI is the future in design?
Bienvenidos a Zona 2. Este es un canal en donde hablamos con personas que son élites en el deporte y élites en la vida. Hoy es un episodio muy diferente, muy especial porque estamos en Suiza. Estamos aquí porque Nike nos invitó a una exposición muy importante en donde hablamos del pasado, el presente y el futuro de la marca. Y también tuvimos la oportunidad de hablar con dos personas muy importantes para Nike. Una se llama Sabrina Oei, es la directora de comunicaciones a nivel global de Nike. Y la otra persona se llama Martin Lotti. Él es el Chief Design Officer, el diseñador más importante de Nike. Él hace todo lo que traigo puesto ahorita, literalmente. Entonces está súper interesante esta entrevista. Hablamos de las estrategias que hacen para los Juegos Olímpicos, la estrategia que tuvieron para el maratón de Ciudad de México, que si bien ellos no son los patrocinadores del evento, parecía que sí eran. Hablamos de cómo es el proceso creativo para diseñar unos tenis nuevos, cómo tienen innovación constante en los diseños, en los productos, cómo hablan con los atletas para poder crear unos mejores diseños, unos mejores productos y para que siempre los atletas sean el foco principal de la marca. Entonces van a ver un episodio muy divertido, muy padre. Vamos a ir a correr y después vamos a hablar con ellos. Espero que disfruten mucho de este episodio, comenten cuál es su parte favorita y como siempre disfruten de su proceso. Nos vemos.
All right, perfect. Thank you. All right. So Sabrina, thank you so much for being with me. You are the Senior Director of Global Communications at Nike Running.
That's right.
Very big title, and very important title as well. So basically, what is your job at Nike?
So at Nike, I get to talk.
Can you?
Sure. You're welcome. At Nike, I get to talk about running, and I get to tell people all of the wonderful products that we have that will hopefully help them be better runners and just enjoy their runs more.
Talking about products, can you throw the product to me? Thank you. We have this new product. So can you explain us what this is?
This is the Peg Premium, and this year, 2024, has been the year of Peg. So you saw the Peg icon, Pegasus 41, come out, and that is just a fabulous legacy shoe for us, but it constantly gets better. We're always innovating to make sure that the latest Peg is as responsive to the run as you put into it. So that's the Peg icon. This is the Peg Premium, and in the middle is the Peg Plus. Oh. And you've heard me say it before, but I love the Peg Plus. The Peg Plus is the next iteration of the Peg Turbo. So it has the beautiful racing stripe up the middle, and it just makes you feel fast. And these obviously full airbag below, beautiful colors. It will be your most responsive ride.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna throw it back over there.
Forget it.
Thank you. All right, Sabrina, you talk a lot about your communication with athletes. First, how does Nike define an athlete?
So if you have a body, you are an athlete. And running is the great equalizer of all sports. So it's true, I think some people can be intimidated by running, and sometimes they find other ways to come into running. Say you're a soccer player, a global football player. I was a springboard diver, and that got me into running just because it has the ability to, one, use your body, to process your mind, and 3, bring you into communities. So if you have a body, you're an athlete, and it doesn't matter if you haven't run before or if you play different sports. It is just a way to get your body moving and bring health into your life.
Perfect. And you also talk a lot about how you communicate with athletes in order to innovate and bring new products to the market. How is that process exactly?
Yeah, the voice of the athlete is the heart of what we do, because you can't make anything better if you don't know what the challenges are that the athletes face. So the way we talk to athletes, we have, from the professional side, we have probably the biggest roster of professional athletes that we talk to, we listen to, we train with, we bring them into the Nike Sports Research Lab to get their insights. And then you have the everyday athlete. That's us, maybe not you, because you are running Berlin next week. Yeah. But you do have everyday athletes that just want you to help solve the challenges that they face in just getting their shoes on every day to get out the door. Perfect. So that's what we try to do.
Now, you were the leader of certain events in the Olympics, in the Paris Olympics. How long does it take for you to elaborate those events?
Well, we wish we had more time always, because they are fabulous opportunities to not only show our product innovation, but to really get into the life and build the community around the athlete. So they take a while to prepare for. We are preparing for LA 20.
Right now?
Of course.
So 4 years ago, you're already preparing for that?
Of course we are, especially on the product side, where we hear, innovation moves so incredibly fast, and we always want to serve our athletes with the next thing that will make them better. And that's always based on where we end the last Olympics and how hard our athletes are working to really be their best.
I saw some boots, the hyperized boots, that I'm going to put a video right here so you can see it as well. But you actually had those in the Olympics. So
we did.
What are they for?
Yes. We had over 650 athletes, Nike athletes, come through our athlete house at the Olympics. And we try to serve them in every way. Those hyper ice boots are for both pre-covery before you're going to go out and run, and also recovery. Okay. And the idea is that they help your body get ready or recover from whatever activity they do, in this case running. And they are like, they pressurize your muscles, and they can also add heat into them. And they have been designed and made so that you can take them on the go. You can walk in them, you could take them on the airplane, you could use them however you recover and however you prepare for your
Is
running.
it only going to be for Olympians and elite athletes, or can we get them as well, like the normal people?
I sure hope we normal people can get them. And awesome. That is our plan, yes.
Great. And I think everyone wants to know this question. Like, there was a big event, the Mexico Marathon was a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
When Nike is not a sponsor in that marathon, but you sure looked like it. Like, there was a big event, big organization. How did you do that?
Yeah. Well, Nike, running is the heart of Nike, and we want to be in the communities where you are. So, it's a lot of the rebellious spirit of Nike.
No worries, okay.
It is the rebellious spirit of Nike coming back, and we hope you felt that. We do that by really being authentic in the community, knowing the communities of running, knowing the run clubs, knowing the marketplace, having our stores involved, having our what we call RSGs, running specialty groups, or our partner doors involved, and really bringing the world together around Nike and making sure everybody feels it.
Berlin Marathon is 1 week away.
Yes.
I'm gonna run there.
Hey,
thank you. Nike is not a sponsor in the Berlin Marathon. Are we gonna see something like that, or is that confidential? Or
so for Nike, these races, we just didn't sponsor, but we're very much part of UTMB, the ultra marathon run in Chamonix. You are going to see Nike showing up in the community the way we hope you want to see Nike in the community, but the way we really should show up for our runners, right? So for marathon season, it is super important that we are around the world and invested in supporting and championing runners. And we have a women's race series that you'll also see Nike showing up at.
Perfect. And last question, this is more a personal question. I know you were an All-American, you have been an elite triathlete. I mean, you've been around sport your whole life.
Yes.
what is the biggest lesson that sport has given you?
Sport for me is really about inclusion. So in all the sports that I've ever done, the way I always feel the best is by bringing other people in. And some of the sports that I've done are not well known, like springboard diving. It's not a very common.
Never heard of it.
But you can, through running and through training and through talking with people, bring in and equalize people's access to sport. So that's really, for me, sport has brought so much enjoyment and health into my life, and I think that we all deserve that. And so as much as we can bring people in, let's do it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sabrina.
You're welcome.
Let's keep enjoying Basel.
Oh my gosh, this weather.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Seeing 50 years of Nike design being brought to life in so many ways to really show Nike as an athletes company, Nike as an innovation company, and Nike as a design company. Having a few of my own personal footwear designs here too is pretty crazy. I've never designed a shoe in my life before when I joined Nike and they said, just do it. So I think this idea, it's much more than a slogan. It's a way of working at Nike and overall a way of life.
All right, Martin, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for this amazing experience. We're here at the exhibition of Nike, and the first thing I want to address is the inspiration, right? You're in the job to inspire people to do more, to do unimaginable things. And I think it all started at the Olympics when you were 10 years old, right? How was that moment?
You know, I remember this as it was yesterday. I was being glued in front of the TV, seeing it was the LA Olympics, seeing Carl Lewis soar through the air. And at one point I was like, I would love to be part of the Olympics one day. Now I was thinking I might be an athlete, not knowing that many years later it was more for the design side, having the opportunity actually many years later to actually meet Carl Lewis and connect with him. And I ultimately becoming the creative director for the London Olympics. So that was a full circle moment for sure.
Of course. And now you're the chief design officer of Nike. How does that feel?
Unreal. You know, it's never been a job. It's a passion of serving athletes, creating incredible products. I always loved sports. I always loved design. And Nike felt like the perfect marriage between the two worlds. And I feel incredibly fortunate.
I love the fact that you introduce a lot of your own things into the shoes. Right now you were talking about a specific Easter egg of your son, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. This was a special moment at the time when our son was born. And I was designing the MX 360 at the time. And as a little bit of Easter egg, it was a pull tab that needed some traction anyway. But rather than just putting a generic pattern on it, it ended up being 16 little dots and 2 little lines, 16 for his birthday, as he was born on February 16th, the 2 lines for February, the 16 dots for his day that he was born.
That's amazing. And can you tell us a little bit about the creative process? So how is it, like very, very quickly, but how is the creative process in Nike?
Sure, it's usually an 18 months process.
Okay.
Sometimes it can be up to 4 years. We are already working right now on the LA Olympics.
No way.
So the time depends on how much innovation we build in and the project itself. But it always starts with listening of the voice of the athletes. That is, we will not put pen to paper without that. So it's less about what am I going to draw today. It's more about what athlete problems am I going to be solving today. And then from there, we are taking cultural insights as well, traveling through the world, taking insights from where youth culture is at. And then business insights. So it's the combination of athlete insights, cultural insights, and business insights to ultimately create the project to solve athlete problems.
That's incredible. And when you talk about a brand as big as Jordan, as the Jordan brand, how involved is Michael Jordan nowadays?
He's very involved in it.
Really?
Like, he will follow through, like in regards to the game shoe, for example. he will see the first sketch to the last sketch to the prototype. Now, that's not true for every shoe, but for the game shoe, absolutely. And that's amazing of how much care there is in that regard.
And how do you balance innovation with a big brand like Jordan? Like, is there like a fine line that you have to follow for it to always be the Jordan brand, the Jordan identity?
Yeah, so designing for Nike and designing for Jordan in many ways is very similar, but we always start with the athlete first. But designing for a Jordan product, there's a different dimension to it as well in regards to how does it best represent him as a brand. And with Jordan, it's about being a brand of excellence, but also a brand of flight. So when we design things, it's literally like, how do we make it being perceived as a brand of flight? I'll give you an example. When we, not just in product, but in stores, like when you go into in a Jordan store, the outside are like vertical lines that kind of speak to the idea of flight. Mm-hmm. The cash register is like a floating cash register that feels like a brand of flight. So it's really infusing the DNA of Jordan into all we do, from footwear, apparel, all the way to retail. That's amazing.
And how do you stay inspired nowadays? Like, I mean, I see all these designs and I see how far we've come. How can you say, okay, I'm going to take it a step further?
Oh, we're just scratching the surface at the moment. Like, with new technologies, with new insights, we're literally just scratching the surface. Even though we're 50 years young, I think the runway is still incredible. So the way we get inspired, yes, first we've listened to the athletes. It's not just at the back end of the process. Most people believe that we're using our athletes for billboards and advertising. Yes, that is true, but more importantly is up front in the process. So that is a big insights. But then also inspiration trips. So I take my team literally around the globe, and where we go and dig deep on insights and being inspired. I always say that trends start at midnight, not in the daylight. So that's when youth culture is most expressive, is at night. Mm-hmm. So it's not just going out and traveling, it's when and where and with who you meet. All ultimately inspires you. So it feels like being like a sponge. When you go outside the world, you come back, squeeze that sponge, and through that Nike only filter, so that the biggest compliment one can get is when a consumer says only Nike would create this product.
That's amazing. And how important is it for you right now, sustainability as a brand?
It's not only a necessity, it's a responsibility. It's embedded in all we do. And a key aspect to this is how we design the product from the get-go. How do we pick the materials properly? So it's truly embedded in all things we do. And we can create new methods of make. So for example, at the time, we looked at the Flyknit Racer. And how do you go from typical roll goods, die cutting and everything becomes waste, to a shoe that is fully knitted. Mm-hmm. So that's just one example of addressing sustainability, but it can be done in many, many different ways with recycled polyesters and in regards to cottons as well. So it's really a science that we're applying to every project.
And talking about science, do you think AI is the future in design?
It's a great tool. Just like at the time when we introduced Illustrator or Photoshop, which at the time people thought like it's ruining design because now Photoshop is taking over. Same thing is with AI. It's just another great tool. And we just, in the Paris Olympics, we built a space called the Art of Victory, where we worked very closely with some athletes, but then also used AI as a tool to create literally future objects. And it's an incredible tool that helps us. I would also say the more digital we go, the more physical we'll go.
Okay.
So it's really going to the bookend. It's not that we would go only digital. In fact, it's the juxtaposition of the two that makes it even more interesting.
Perfect. Martin, thank you so much. I made this design. What do you think about it? Do you think you can give me credit when you release it?
You got a future. We got a few job openings.
I think AI is not the only tool we're going to use now.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Martin.
Pleasure.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much for everything.